Alright, I'm out in the desert here today looking for tinder bundle material. One of my subscribers asked if I could do a video on doing tinder, and I can't help but love to do this stuff. And if you guys have anything you want to see, just let me know. I'm happy to do it for you. I love doing it for people, but I really like it when I'm doing something specifically just for you. So let me know what you want. We're going to go through and look at some of the tinder bundles you can find in the lower desert areas, and then go up into the higher desert areas and see what the differences are and what you look for. But I'll tell you what, the principle is the same, and I'm going to teach you the principle to finding tinder bundles no matter where you are. I've been all over the world doing this stuff, and the same principle applies, and you're going to learn that here. Alright, I hope you guys love this, and I'll talk to you soon in a bit. You see straight ahead of us down here, there's a cottonwood tree, or there's a tree in general. And a green tree that green means that there's water. So we're going to go down there because, believe it or not, in the desert, a good place to find things for their tinder bundle are in the gullies, in the low spots where there's water. If we come up on here, we'll see that there's going to be some dead branches on the ground probably. That's what we want. We want the bark of this tree. Here's another one here. Here's another one here. So we got these two. And somewhere on there we're going to try to find some bark that's coming off the tree. Bingo, right there. Look at that. That's what we want. That right there. That is what we want. This bark right here makes great tinder. So that's wonderful. Let's take a little bit off and I'll process some of it. I've collected a little bit of bark from a cottonwood tree. You can find the cottonwood trees sometimes in the desert down low. I'll show you some other things too, but we're going to take this cottonwood bark here first and we're going to process it. So let me show you what we're going to do. All I do is I'm going to just find a flat area where I can kind of keep track of the extra stuff that comes off of it, because I want all the little powder. That little powder is not kind of nice to have. Now all I do is make a ball out of it and roll it in my fingers. We're also going to want the fibers that are in here. The thinner we can make these fibers inside this bundle, the better. Okay, like this bark right here, this outer bark, that's going to make nice powdery stuff. And save that, because we're going to put that in the middle of our bundle. So that little bit is probably good enough to get a fire going if you have a decent coal from a bow drill or hand drill. You just want these really fine threads. As fine as we can get them, that's what we want. As fine as we can get it. So just roll it between your hands, break it up a little bit, and get those really, really small fibers. So, and we take it, we make our nest, take all that little powdery stuff that you have down here, take all of this good stuff there, put that in the middle of your bundle, and then that's where you put your coal, is right on that part right there. And you're set. Alright, as a general rule, when I'm out looking for tinder, and especially if it's a new area or a new country and I don't know what I'm looking for, because I don't know what the plants are, I'm looking for something that's brown, like this evening primrose here. And this actually happens to have a really good stem for making tinder, because you can use that stem right there and make a good tinder bundle out of that evening primrose. You can also make string. Another thing that I'm seeing right in this area is, again, there's brown right over here. So if we go over here to this brown fuzzy stuff, the heads of this seed right here are going to make great tinder. We're going to just strip that off, and we can make a tinder out of that as well. See how small those fibers are already? And that downy part especially, that's what we want. We're just going to mash it up, roll it between our hands, and do a pile. Same as the other one. We got some grass here. Right there is some grass. This grass right here is great. It's going to make a great tinder. You just roll that up into a ball, that dead grass. There's some more right here. Now, one of the reasons that I like being in a gully so much is because you get things like this. See how there's a root right here? And this root, as the stuff, as the water rushes by, catches things, and a lot of times you can find good tinder in those little areas, especially in the desert, you know, because it just rains a little bit, it flows, or a little bit of the year, and it flows down, and then at the end of, or when it just dries out, you've got some great tinder. Now you can see that it just rained here like 2 days ago, so this is all still damp. But up above it, right here we have, again, we have green and brown together. Up here in this, green and brown together. And there's our good tinder right there at the end of that. That's last year's and the years before's grasses. And those are going to make a great tinder as well. And I just noticed we have some more of that same kind of thing. We have white or brown. That's what we're looking for. Look at that. That's great tinder right there. It's the top of a goldenrod plant. Good stuff right there. Excellent stuff. Now, another thing that I'm hoping to show you today is little gullies where the wind blows. The same that the water will carry stuff down to it, little particles down to it, to make a great tinder bundle. The wind will do the same thing. So if we walk along and we're looking at the ground here, there we go, right there. So here's a spot right here where the wind has kind of gathered things up. And in this case, it's gathered up this nice dry grass, like that. That's really good tinder right there. Really good tinder. And of course the advantage to this is that it's already dry because it's not as deep in the gully. And here we have green and brown. Whenever you find green and brown, check it out. So this is pretty dry, but probably not dry enough for a tinder bundle. When it dries out, oh yeah, I guess it is dry enough. That's pretty good. So there, nice tinder bundle material. Alright, right in this area is another great example of being in a gully where the water rushes down. And look at these spots like this where all of this stuff that the current carried down is. I mean, that is a great tinder bundle right there, ready made. And it's just sitting next to this plant that's sitting here. It happens to be pretty evening primrose, actually. A really good plant for fiber and for making tinder bundles in and of itself. You just tear that off and make good tinder bundle out of that. So this is a good spot right here. You just take that and make that evening primrose into another tinder bundle right there. That makes a good one. But again, here's some more of that area where it's just washed everything down. And there's a really good tinder bundle right there. All in here. You can see it's dusty, but you just take the dust out. All of that is great tinder. There's cattail. Cattail is amazing. So here's a nice piece of tinder right here for starting fires right there. That's the seed head. This one got knocked down by the water already, but that stuff is phenomenal. Super, super tiny microfibers in there. And when you strike it with a tinder or with a spark or something, it just immediately ignites into little tiny itty bitty flames. And if you've got something next to that that's also very small and fibrous and more substantial, it'll catch on fire very easily. So cattail's great. And here's another one right up here that you can see right there, right there. Alright, moving up in elevation without having the added advantage of the low spots where we can gather stuff where the water rushes down, and having cattail and a lot of fibrous plants. We're up here and look at this, green on brown. That's our principle, green on brown or white on green. And this is a yucca or a Joshua tree, I'm not really sure which. I just know that it gives me great fibers for cordage and tinder bundles, and it also has soap in the leaves. So we got the green here, got the brown below it, so we know we've got something good here, or possibly good. And look at the fibers right there. Those are going to make a great tinder bundle right up at the base. And if you go down a little bit, you also have some great fibers in here. You're going to have to bang these with a rock to break them up somewhat so you can get the fibers out. But up here, look at that. I mean, that's going to just make an incredibly good tinder. Easy to start, and you have extra for cordage too. So a really, really good plant to use. Now if we take a little walk around here, we're going to find other stuff as well. There we go. There's some white. See this white on the green? So these little seed heads here, look at that little downy stuff we got in here. We'll take that. That'll make a nice seed head or tinder bundle. It'll take us a while to gather that. We want to make sure we get all the green out of it. And it'll take a little bit, but we'll make a nice tinder bundle out of that. Yep, all sorts of good stuff. You know, we always used to looking for big stuff like a tree or a stalk or something, but a lot of times when you're doing this for real, you don't have that option. You're kind of stuck finding little bits of tinder like this and gathering them up and saving them until you got a nice bundle. And it might take you 15 or 20 minutes instead of 5. But you'll get it done. Alright, my friend, that's what I got for you on finding tinder bundles in the desert. And remember, you don't have to know the names of things. Your general principle is find green and then white on green and brown on green, because that white and brown are the things that you're going to want for your tinder bundle. In the higher desert areas, you're going to have to find a lot of smaller stuff. Then when you get down low in the desert, when you're near water down here, you can find tinder a lot easier, especially if you can find those washes where it builds up all in one pile, where the water's already gathered everything up there for you. You find a lot of dry grasses right in those areas, and the cattail is phenomenal. So, alright, I hope you enjoyed this, my friend, and I'll talk to you again soon.